This is Cafecito y Panecito, where every bite and sip comes with a side.
Bienvenidos, mi gente, to another episode of Cafecito y Panecito. Grab your cafecito, your concha, whatever you need to feel held for a moment, because today's conversation is one that sits deep in the bones. Today we're talking about healing the parts of you that learn to survive, not thrive. And I want you to take a breath with me before we get into it, because this one hits different. A lot of us grow up in environments where survival was the priority, not joy, not softness, not exploration, not dreaming, just getting through the day. And when you grow up like that, you don't even realize how many parts of you were shaped by survival mode. You just think, this is who I am. But it's not. It's who you have to be. Let's name some of those survival parts, because naming them is the first step to healing them. Maybe you learned to be hyper independent because depending on people never felt safe. Maybe you learned to stay quiet because speaking up caused conflict. Maybe you learned to overachieve because being perfect was the only way you felt valued. Maybe you learned to shrink yourself because taking up space felt dangerous. These parts of you aren't flaws, they're adaptations. They're evidence of how strong you were, even when you were little, even when you didn't have the language for what you were going through. But here's the thing, what helped you survive back then might be the same thing holding you back now. Thriving requires a different version of you, a softer version, a braver version, a version that trusts the world that isn't the same place it used to be. But that shift is uncomfortable. It feels like betrayal. It feels like you're abandoning the parts of you that kept you alive. And I want to say this clearly. Healing doesn't mean rejecting those parts. Healing means thanking them, honoring them, and then gently letting them rest. You don't have to be in survival mode anymore. You don't have to be the strong one all the time. You don't have to anticipate danger in every room you walk into. You get to choose a different way now. Now I'm speaking to everybody, my first gens, los hijos de inmigrantes. Survival mode wasn't just personal, it was culture. Our parents didn't have the luxury of thriving. They were building a life from scratch. They were navigating a country that wasn't built for them. They were carrying trauma from their own childhoods. So we inherit survival as a love language. But now we're the generation with the chance to break that pattern. We're the ones learning that rest is not laziness, that boundaries are not disrespectful, that joy is not a distraction, that softness is not a weakness. We're healing not just for ourselves, but for everyone who came before us. Healing the parts of you that learned to survive doesn't look glamorous. It looks like letting yourself rest without guilt, learning to trust people slowly and intentionally, speaking up even when your voice shakes, letting yourself be loved in ways you weren't taught, choosing peace over chaos because chaos feels familiar. Healing looks like catching yourself in old patterns and saying, I don't have to do that anymore. Healing looks like giving yourself permission to be someone new. I want you to think about one part of you, just one, that learned to survive. Maybe it's that part that never asks for help. Maybe it's the part that apologizes for everything. Maybe it's the part that keeps people at arm's length. Maybe it's the part that hustles nonstop. Slowing down feels unsafe. Hold that part gently. Picture it, feel it, and now tell it, thank you for protecting me. I'm safe now. You don't have to force change. You don't have to rush. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be willing. As always, thank you for sharing this space with me. Thank you for showing up for yourself. Thank you for choosing healing, even when it's uncomfortable. If today's episode touched something in you, sit with it. Journal. Talk to someone you trust, or just let it simmer. And remember, you were never meant to just survive. You were meant to thrive. Nos vemos en el próximo episodio, mi gente. Now this is Cafecito y Panecito, where every sip and bite comes with a side of real talk. See you in the next one. Peace.